All right, welcome to episode 25. So about like I think on the 30th devlog I might do like a time lapse of the whole everything that we've done. But anyways, since the last devlog I actually did some coding yesterday. It was too hot and I was too tired. I didn't want to actually film. So I filmed the development of it and then I thought tomorrow I'll explain the what I actually did. So quickly before I show you what I did, um, I actually rolled back all the changes that I made from the last devlog. There was too many bugs. I couldn't figure out what was happening and why certain behaviors were happening. So I rolled it all back, tried to start from scratch, still running into a brick wall, running into a brick wall with that, and then rolled that back again, and then again because of the heat and I was so tired. I used ChatGPT, the Codex, so their version of Claude Code, and it gave me a solution and I implemented it and it seems like it works and it works well. So I'm going to show the development time lapse now so that you can see that I did it. And then after the development time lapse finishes, then I'll try to explain what I did. So you saw my development. So I'll try to, because I actually did quite a lot of development. I'll try to remember it all and try to explain it best as I can. So in terms of inside my inspector, I had a marker 2D, which was ball spawn point. Got rid of that completely. Inside game manager now, yes, as you can see, there's no ball spawn point, node reference. Inside my paddle, however, I've got serve anchor. So this is where the ball is going to be served from. That's a marker 2D, and that's a child of pivot rotator. So inside of Game Manager, I added a game state called serving. So now we got either the game's going to be serving, playing, or game over. Then we've got game state, and I've set that to serving as well. I added some event handlers, serve started event handler and serve completed event handler. Obviously, when a serve has started, um, emit a signal, and once it's ended, emit a signal, so that other scripts can pick up on that. So we got all that. Did we add anything else? Trying to think. We got is serving. So this is a public. So other scripts can ask what gameplay phase is active without being given direct control over the state machine. So I don't want to give other scripts control of the game manager state machine, but I want them to read from it. So before I was having independent Boolean variables inside each script and like tracking it independently. This is actually a much better way. So I've got a public variable called isServing inside Game Manager, and we're just saying, okay, if the game state is serving, then that's true. If it's something else, then it's false. And then the same for is playing. If game state equals playing, then it's true. If it's not, then it's false. Can trigger super shots, so this is another one like those two up there. Can trigger super shot is if is playing and not is currently super shot. And yeah, it's currently super shot. It always gets instantiated to false. This is going to be quite a long, quite a lot of stuff. so, so the bulk of everything is inside Game Manager. Paddle, I did a lot as well, but it's kind of hard to explain, so I'll try to remember. So at the end of ready for Game Manager, we've got callable hit, emit stats change, that was there before, and then we do begin serve. So what is begin serve? Let's try to find that. We changed our process here, which is pretty like simple. So you can read it here. I don't need to explain it because if I explain everything, it's going to be like 20 minutes long of me just talking. This is all the same. On super shot detected, everything's the same except I used can trigger super shot instead of what I was using before. On ball lost, checking if it is currently playing. At the end of on ball lost, once it's lost, we request a serve, just like we did up in where's it gone? Up in begin serve. Oh, we did begin serve here. We can request serve as well. So where is it? It should be here somewhere. On hit will hit, that's normal. Hit with destroys, didn't touch that. Okay, here we go. So we got request serve, begin serve, and remove current ball. And we got try complete serve as well. So that's what I'm gonna try to explain. So for request serve, moves into the serving phase immediately, removes the old ball, and schedules the new ball after current callbacks have finished. So we're checking if it's game over, then return. We got game state equals game state serving. Make sure that's set. Then what we do is remove the current ball. So if there's a ball currently in play, remove that completely, which is simple. And then what we do is we call begin serve, right? So it all stems from begin serve. Begin serve creates one new ball and attaches it to the paddle's serve anchor. All initial lost ball and debug spawning should arrive here. So the initial ball and any lost balls getting DQ'd and then spawn back in, they all arrive here. So we got, obviously, if it's game over, return. If ball scene's null, return. If paddle's null, return. These are all guards. We're setting the game state to serving, just making sure that we are in the serving state. We remove the current ball, like I said up here. Normally, request serve already removed it. This additional call protects against debug or accidental direct calls. We instantiate the ball. We add it to the ball parent as a child. We grab the serve position, which is paddle.get serve position, a new method that I did to get that anchor, if you can remember, paddle serve anchor. So that's what that's doing. Set the initial position immediately, then let ball maintain it safely through integrate forces. So we get ball.global position, we set that to the serve position, which is here, which is the anchor. And then we do ball.hold serve position. And then inside my processes, I think it's process or physics process for game manager, I actually do ball dot what was it? I have two hold methods. One for continuously holding and one for initially holding. Set held position. So you can see here physics process, if is serving, we do ball dot set held position, paddle dot get serve position. Right? So go back here, begin serve, we hold, and then obviously my physics process sets the held position. Current ball equals ball, emit signal, ball change, emit signal, serve started. Remove current ball is pretty simple, you do Q3, set the current ball to null. We've got try complete serve, which is used, I believe, again in paddle. Check the time. And there's a bunch of stuff going on here. So if we're not serving or info is null, then return false. If we can't get the ball, then return false. If it is a super shot, set the super shot to false, because on a serve it's impossible to have a super shot. We store the strike info inside ball. We do ball.release at our method before, and we release the ball at whatever direction the serve is. Game state is now playing, and then we emit the signal serve completed, return true. Inside ball, I've changed a bunch of stuff. If I can remember, we've got pending release direction, pending release power. We changed those names. Didn't actually change much, to be honest. And then we got last strike info defaults to new. Inside paddle, this one's going to be really difficult to explain because I got 500 lines and I have to go through it. Essentially, what I've changed is the way I actually do strike. So do strike. The main thing that we need to understand is do strike is different. So whenever I detect the balls within the wedge and the player has struck, then it calls this method do strike. If we can't get the ball from game manager, then what we do is we return pivot to ball normal. Then this is the serve strike stuff. So if game manager is serving, so if we find out that okay, game manager is telling us that we're serving right now, we do serve direction equals get aim direction. That's normal. Serve power, calc strike power. Strike info, we get the strike info, and then we always set the is super shot to false because a serve can never be a super shot. And then we go game manager try complete serve info. So we tell the game manager do the serve. Then we check okay if game manager is if we're not playing is playing. Uh, I'm not. I don't really understand this line actually. If not game manager is playing, return. And then this is for ordinary gameplay strikes, so normal strikes once we're playing. If we are unable to strike the ball, then return. Else, then it is a strike. So we get the ball direction, strike power, get the strike info, plug all that in. We check game manager can trigger super shot. Ball dot store strike info. Give it the info, and then if info dot is super shot, then we emit the signal super shot detected. Else, just apply the strike on ball, and then decrease charge speed. I do have a bunch of other stuff in there as well, but it's going to be too long to explain. So let me show you what the game looks like right now. If this works, yeah. So here's the game, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be. So let's build. So as you can see, it does kind of lag behind the ball, but it's like close enough where it's like it doesn't really matter that much. So we got the ball, it's set to at a -50 of the pivot rotator. You can aim, since it's a child, you can aim and it follows. I could charge the ball, boom, there we go. And you can see that the scoring and the if you remember, we got scoring depending on how long you keep the ball in play. It's actually paused while we're in the serving state. And also, hittables don't spawn while we're in the serving state as well. So everything waits. In serving, everything waits. And then once we're serving, everything starts being into play. So that's one life gone. So we've got 2 lives. We're playing now. And our hit stop works. Our rumble works. I did actually implement all of it. Let's do a super shot. I implemented all of it, and what ended up happening was everything worked except the controller rumble, the screen shake, the game feel stuff. And so I went into that and had to do a sort of like new method inside of there. But right now everything works. So like I got one more life left. So, oh, and there we go. Live's gone. Click start to restart. Let's go. And we can play again. No matter where I decide to play, it all works. So yeah, that's good. Okay, so I feel happy that that's done. Obviously, I got a bunch of other stuff to do in terms of the game as well, like the systems. Notable stuff like obviously I don't want the player to be able to aim downwards. I should realistically trap it so that they can only aim a certain amount of angles. Also, I should trap it so that the player isn't able to move off of the playfield. So like if you can see here, the player is able to aim like freely downwards. It should ideally like stop over there or stop over here. And then also the player is able to like move the paddle all the way here or all the way there. I feel like those issues are really easy to deal with, and I can't be asked doing that now because I'm sick and tired of seeing this screen. and I will get on to those later. But for now, what I want to do is move on to visuals. So I don't know how to do this. I don't even know what. I kind of know that I want my game to look like kind of neon-y, bright, arcadey type of game. But yeah, I need to make the game visuals start. I need to start implementing the game visuals now. How I do that, I don't know. What it's gonna look like, I don't know. But I want to get on to that because I feel like that's the correct next step. Once I get like a foundational sort of look to my game and start like making everything look nice, then I can get on to like polish and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to do that now. I'll do as much as I can, but it is hot and I'm tired. I'll do as much as I can. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that, and then wherever I get up to by the end of the day, I'll stop and then I'll explain to you what I've done and what I've learned and show you what my game looks like. The visual stuff should be the biggest like sort of impact for the player. Obviously we got game feel, but in terms of actually like making a game pop and feel nice, the looks is like one of the most important things. So let me do that now. All right, so it's been a couple of days actually, because of the heat wave and stuff, and it's been really difficult trying to get the motivation to hop back on my PC with all the heat. But anyway, nonetheless, so I'm here now. So what I've done is I've taken the first steps towards doing visuals in my game. Now, I was speaking to I think it was ChatGPT and Codex, trying to figure out like, all right, what are the overall steps that need to be taken and what's the right way going about this. So I figured, all right, let me do this properly. Uh, I've not implemented anything yet, and this is going to be the end of the devlog because once I actually start making the visuals, I want that to start on a fresh devlog. But I've done the first steps. So firstly, what I did was I was doing some research and I came down to this. First, I wanted to look at games for visual inspiration, and I settled down on these four. Do I have them open for my? Yes, I do. So the first one was Polybius. This is a game by Jeff Minter of Llama Soft fame, and I played this game a lot. I remember in VR, and I really liked how like it's a very arcadey game, uh, low poly, but I like the color aspect, and sort of the almost not drugs. What's the word for it? You know, like DMT, sort of like weird warping effects and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. I wanted to keep that in mind. The other game was Resogun. This is a famous arcade twin stick shooter from Housemarque, who just made Saros actually. I played it the other day. I played it a lot when it first came out, but I also played it the other day, and I really like how, in terms of the colors used and stuff, again, very arcadey, very quick. This one's a little bit more alien-like, but I still like the color scheme that's going on. And specifically, I like how like neon and bright the bright colors are. Oh, sorry, Sweden just scored. So the next one, I think this one might be the biggest one, Tetris Effect. The reason why I like Tetris Effect is because of the particle effects. Again, it's got that same thing going on with the same as Resogun, where the bright colors really do pop, and it's got that dark background. But I really love the particle effects that go on inside of Tetris Effect. So I thought, oh, let me put that down. And then the last one was Xenotilt. Never heard this game before, never played it. Um, I put it down because it is a paddle type of game, and I could take some inspiration in terms of its layout. And I did like the color scheme used. It's a little bit more like drawn on, and I don't know how to explain this art style. I'm not going to go for this art style, but I did put it down because it is interesting nonetheless. So those are the games that I put down. Uh, and then I typed down some keywords. So neon is one. I really like the aspect of having like bright colors. Glow, same thing. I think it's important to not forget, like, yes, have bright colors, but I want some sort of glow aspect. So, like, let's say if I make the ball bright white, I do want it to subtly glow or feel like it's glowing. Do you know what I mean? So that it pops even more. The next keyword is pop. One thing I did realize about all of these, if you notice, let's go Tetris Effect, Resogun, let's go here. Polybius, they all have like dark-ish backgrounds. So I really want a background, and the one with Resogun is dark-ish, but it's got a lot of depth to it. So I wanted something akin to like Tetris Effect, where it's really dark but somehow rich and deep as well. I don't want something like Resogun where there's an actual background. I don't want that. But something more like Tetris Effect or Polybius, where it feels like the background is a bit more richer in color or deep. Uh, and then we got particle effects, yep, a warping effect from Polybius, so I do want to play around with that as well. Because I remember playing Polybius and I really like that sort of warping effect, and it warped the field. Energetic, this is in terms of game feel, energetic arcade, and then also vibrant contrast, same, just like Tetris Effect. Look at the contrast here, you got like a really dark background, like just a void, and then these particle effects popping off, and it's so like just the contrast is really good. I want that. So I wrote down like a visual statement, something to like this is my like statement which I'm gonna try to stick true to. A high resolution neon arcade aesthetic built on a dark, restrained playfield. Clean, luminous objects remain readable at high speeds, while successful actions trigger escalating trails, particle effects, particles, glow, and distortion. So I try to keep that in mind as like my main sentence. And then in terms of actually in Godot, I played around with trying to figure out, okay, before I do any visuals, let me set this up properly for laying visuals on top of it. So I did know that I always felt from the beginning my playfield is far too small, my ball is far too big, my paddle is, I'm not sure about the size of the paddle, but the paddle speed was a bit too slow and stuff like that. So I tweaked the size of the I tweaked the size of the playfield. So you can see here the playfield is much wider. I've kept the thickness of the walls, but in terms of visuals, it's just gonna look like it's like a thin rail. So I made it much wider. I'm guessing for my HUD, I'm gonna put that over at the bottom left because that seems like the most natural place to put it. I made the bottom ball out zone area much thicker, made it overlap with the right and left walls. I made the paddle much faster and I made the ball much smaller. And then once I settled on this, and then I tried to tweak around with the charge speed, but didn't really didn't really come up with anything that felt good. And yeah, so I settled on this. I feel like this is a good playfield to have. It's really wide. The ball is smaller, so it makes it feel like the playfield is much bigger. And then also the paddle is much faster, so it actually like let's say if I got the ball got bouncing around here, then I still have enough time. Well, I lost it there, but I still have enough time to make it to the other side of the field, so it doesn't feel like too difficult. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I settled on this. This feels good. And then finally, what I did was I changed the structure of a couple of things. I'm losing my voice here. So we got wall right, wall left, and wall top. Each still have their collision shape 2D, but I added a regular node called visuals, and this is just essentially going to be a container, so that any visuals that I try to put on top of them, it's all going to go under the visuals node. So it's like a folder, like a container type. So we got that. In ball, we've done the same thing. We got everything same here, but we got visuals, and then obviously once I start making the visuals for the ball, having a sort of like particle effect trail and making it glow, I'll get rid of the sprite 2D as well because that's just a temporary thing. And then the same thing for paddle. We got we got the paddle root node. We've got the pivot rotator, which has everything like my logic inside of it. And then not a child of pivot rotator, but a sibling of pivot rotator. I've got my visuals node, and all my visuals are going to go into there. And then hopefully I'll figure out a way to link them both so that, if certain things happen, it would like change the visual or something like that. So now I've structured everything. I've got my mission statement, my like visual statement. I've got my games, which I've decided to sort of come up a style from these games. So yeah, I feel good. I'm going to end the devlog here. Feel like I've done enough. And then next devlog is going to be like a clean start. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot so that I'll be able to do something. But it's going to be a clean start, and I can actually go on to start making the visuals. I'll probably start with the walls and then the ball. Try to make it pop. And then maybe the background, but I'm not sure because the background, I want to spend a lot of time on it because I want to make it really deep and rich. Like I don't want it to be a flat color. It's just I do want it to be sort of slowly moving as well, not like moving fast, but like it noticeably like it does shift. So I'm not sure if I'll do the background, but definitely the walls and the ball, I'll do that. But anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It's good. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next devlog. Take care.